Before this video begins, in episode 1, I call my series Wooden Railway Adventures. It's called The Great Wooden Railway. Bye! Thomas the Tank Engine Friends, The Great Wooden Railway. Episode 2, The Unforeseen Consequences. The engines on the island of Soda were working overtime. Ever since Thomas's accident, each engine had to take on more jobs than they used to. Edward and Percy had to work overtime in the yard, shunting, pulling coaches and trucks in and out of the sidings, pushing trucks onto the platforms. It was really tiring for Percy, especially for Edward since he was so old. Percy had uncoupled from the coaches and went to help Edward shunt in the yard. Henry had to pull James's trains while James had to pull Henry's goods trains. Henry had just puffed by Toby sleeping in his shed. After today's work, Toby had just passed out in his shed after a long day. A few days later, the engines hosted a meeting at Knapford Station where they all gathered. Soon, the engines started talking all over each other. No one could get a word in. It was chaotic. Then, "Silence!" boomed Gordon. "We all need to talk one at a time." Just then, Henry chimed in. "I don't think we should blame James," said Henry. "It's not technically his fault." "I disagree," said Percy. "It is his fault. He should be working overtime." "I disagree with that," said Henry. We all should be working overtime. Thomas is our friend. He wouldn't want us arguing." "I disagree with you, Henry," said Duck. Toby and James agreed with Henry. Same with Edward. Just then more arguing ensued with the engines. Douglas said, "You know what? I'm done," and puffed away. Same with Percy and Henry. Oliver said, "Well, I'm going to get back to work on the Little Western. Bye, everyone." Edward sighed and said, "I want to get back to work," and went to the yard. A little while later, Gordon was waiting to take the express. He was waiting for the guard's whistle to blow while he was insulting James. The whistle blew and Gordon rocketed off and left James upset. Toby tried to comfort James, but James didn't care. "It's not your fault, Toby," said James. It's my fault." "Gordon's right. Everyone's right. It's my fault." When Edward was backing the trucks into Toby's train, Edward said, "No, it's not, James." "It's no one's fault," said Edward. "I need to go back to the yard. See ya." Meanwhile, the other engines were in different places. Henry was in his forest, and Douglas went to the shed to sulk in it. Meanwhile, James kept working overtime. He felt so bad about what he had done, he didn't stop working. He overworked himself every day, and he was just pushing himself. Hopefully the engines will make amends.